The idea of the question, and I acknowledge it's not very clear, is that in the Mayor's housing strategy, it looks like he's going towards putting the proportion of family homes way up in terms of its percentage. So it could be 40%, it could be more. And we were wondering whether, in the context of Westminster's population, where apparently about half of the people in the city with children under 16 actually only have one child, whether we should be making a case that a large, not a small, one double bedroom, one single, but with two double bedrooms actually could constitute family housing. It wouldn't constitute all of the family housing by any means, and I know you can't actually see it, but up behind here is a table, and maybe you could have a look at it in the break, of a proposed breakdown of unit sizes, which would apply to all sectors, private and affordable. And so you could have a look at that. We're actually proposing not to permit any two-bedroom dwellings that have only that have one single room, or in fact even two single bedrooms, that they would all have to have two double bedrooms, because that adds to the sustainability of the flat. So if you move in maybe with one child and you have another child, you don't have to be moved and you're not overcrowded. It just makes that flat more sustainable in whichever sector you live.
But the housing association's already doing it. Half a bedroom, only 3 people can go into what they class as a 2-bedroom. And only one person, you can only have one child, married couple, whatever, and one child can only go into that bedroom. Well, it's passed. It's only 2 years old, down off of Marylebone, that they've gone into. So I don't know who did that lot.
Okay. This is a new policy proposal, because we have allowed...
In the past?
Yes. So it's looking forward to amending things that aren't working. This is the whole point of the meeting, trying to get things right, trying to change things so that we can do things better, basically.
Okay, there's another question here. Should we be asking for family-sized homes in busy central areas? Does anyone want to raise a view on that?
What exactly would you classify as a busy central area?
Where we are.
The whole of Westminster is a busy central area.
Is this, we have to leave the centre part of Westminster as part of a social engineering? It's a silly question. You build where, you've got amenities for people.
Could one of the officers just answer your question?
Okay, so this comes from, when we say busy central area, we really do mean the West End. It could be this central bit of Victoria, but not going off to Pimlico or anywhere like that. It's the areas where there's a lot of commercial uses like offices. We get representations from the development industry that say they shouldn't, when we ask for housing in those areas, that they shouldn't be required to build family-size housing, that's 3-bedroom properties and above, because they're not really suitable for families, because they do lack some open space in some of the districts, and maybe some amenities that you'd expect. We're just asking for views whether people agree with that, or whether the whole of Westminster should be considered a place suitable for families.
That's right, the whole of Westminster. Build 3 bedrooms in Victoria Street.
That's right. With open space, please, for recreation.
Sorry, could we take everybody in turn? There was one hand up here. Hugh had
I think some of these questions are actually very complex. We're trying to be very black and white answers, so if I can make that as an introductory remark. I certainly think it's very important to be led by the demographics and the need, and I have a concern as to whether the housing percentages and targets are really following the long-term trends of demographics. Second point, which is coming more to this question, I once tried to work out how many types of people, households lived in Westminster. I think I got to about 14 of different types of company flats, social rent, families, students, and I got a list of people trying to live in Westminster. It's an incredibly complex accommodation market. So all I'd say, I think in answer to your question, is I can't answer your question. What I would say, though, is that we have to try and find a range of different solutions in different parts of the city, and I honestly don't think it's very hard to answer. It's a very binary question around some of these points. I do believe that in very part of the busiest parts of the city, it's not a great family environment. So that's as a matter of amenity. Secondly, if you make people build a very large family flat in the heart of Westminster, first of all, it is incredibly expensive to buy, and therefore actually is available to a small part of those in need. And secondly, back to your very first question, it's actually very inefficient use of the land. Because if you could get 2 flats in the space that you get 1 family flat, you've lost the ability to accommodate another household. That dominoes on through the city. So it means that overall, you will accommodate less overall households in the city. So I think that's, to me, the consequence of this kind of question.
Okay, were there any different views on that? Yes.
Yes, I think a vision and the vision that the city has about what kind of city it is paramount in this. You know, it's all very well to talk about business areas. The last thing we want in Westminster is a Canary Wharf, an area that dies at 7 o'clock at night, an area that is a desert at 7 o'clock at night. And Paddington Basin sadly is a bit like that. Paddington Basin dies at 7 o'clock at night. And we want to have a city that's vibrant. We want families. We want children in areas. We want schools. We want, we want a Westminster that's alive and vibrant, not people cramped into corners of the outskirts of the city. So let's have a vision about the kind of Westminster we want, and that will mean having a mixed community, business and residential.
Because we all matter, whoever we are.
Maybe if we reclaimed all the MPs' second homes and sent them back to their castles where they can live in after having their
I
money.
assure you we can't control that. Okay, yes.
Well, on one point I would agree with the speaker behind me, that the demography is very important. I also agree with another speaker that, in fact, the whole of London, but Westminster is no different, that it is a whole series of what were smaller communities that coalesce together to make one. So in Kensington, you'd say in Kensington you wouldn't have large family homes, but utter nonsense. In parts of Westminster you've got large family homes, because people are living there and enjoying that. You've got schools that are there. You have to look at the demographic situation in terms of demand and need and social provision, the infrastructure.
The whole of London was a series of villages, and it became connected up into one big urbanism. You may have to go back and see how you can unravel it a bit.
I'd like to say that stop doing, I know I'm going to be blown down over this, and I am want social housing, but a lot of people don't understand when they live on main roads with families, they're too glad to get in there. But we know now the health problems that's associated with that. Can't open windows, bringing the kids along. I don't know how it's going to happen, I'm not in that one. But the kids walk along the roads with all the fumes and everything else. You see, because not being funny, people who've got money move into where the greeneries are, if you understand, off the main roads, sort of thing. And it seems to be, yes, I know you've got to build on whatever land you get, but try and think of the children or the people that don't know their rights. Maybe they shouldn't take that flat, but out of desperation, they take the flat because they've gone through this system. And what happens to their children's health and their own health? Because rich people would not live